Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 62nd Munich Security Conference. And let me try to start this on a somewhat lighter note. I think what happened in Davos a couple of weeks ago does not necessarily need to stay in Davos, so I'm going to put this on for a moment. On a more serious note, on a very serious note, this conference takes place at a time of growing concerns about global security, or I should say insecurity. Never before in the more than 60 years of this conference have there been so many simultaneous, rather fundamental challenges and bloody wars in Europe, and around the globe. A rules-based international order, did it ever exist? Question mark. There is a reason our Munich Security Report of this year carries the title Under Destruction. Ladies and gentlemen, the transatlantic relationship in particular finds itself at an inflection point. For the Munich Security Conference, the backbone of which has been the transatlantic relationship, this poses an unprecedented challenge. In this situation, I am so pleased that strong transatlantic bonds continue to exist on both sides of the Atlantic. Please welcome all together a large and bipartisan delegation from the United States of America, led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and including around more than 40 members of the US Congress here in Munich today. A very warm welcome to all of you. And let me specifically applaud the fact that so many of you were able to catch your flights in spite of a lot of, how shall I say, important domestic business on Capitol Hill over the last several days. So we appreciate your presence here very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, one thing is clear. The transatlantic partnership needs a stronger Europe. Europe must stand, but Europe will stand only if European nations stand together even more closely than in the past. This is why it is my tremendous personal pleasure on behalf of the Munich Security Conference team to welcome such a large and impressive number of heads of state and government, of foreign ministers, defense ministers, and other senior cabinet ministers from all over Europe to this conference today. A warm welcome to all our European friends and partners. Last not least, we need to address fundamental issues about global aspects of security, about AI, the future of AI, cyber, about climate change, about energy and supply chains, about global health, about human rights, and other issues reaching far beyond the Euro-Atlantic space. I'm therefore also very happy to offer a warm welcome to leaders from the Asia-Pacific, from the Middle East, from Africa, from Latin America, and certainly to all those who represent countries of what is now being called the Global South. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends of Munich, this is a time to be serious. This is not a time to mince our words, or as they say, to beat around the bush. We need to be honest about our differences, but we should seek to help organize a constructive transatlantic reset, if that is possible this weekend. In this spirit, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude these brief opening remarks by throwing just a few questions to some of you from a long list which I collected over the last couple of weeks. First, a question to the 27 members of the European Union. What concrete steps are you proposing or are you prepared to take beyond delivering speeches to help create a European Union that is going to be a more respected international actor and more capable of defending our freedom, our values, and our borders? Second, a question to the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. Are you 5 fully aware of your obligations under Article 6 of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty? And if so, what exactly are your concrete plans to avoid a foreseeable crash landing, a serious confrontation with the non-nuclear world at the forthcoming NPT review conference in April at the United Nations? Question mark. Third, a question to our American friends. Does the United States of America, does the Trump administration truly believe that it needs allies and partners? And if so, this is what we hope, is Washington actually prepared to treat allies as partners? Question mark. And finally, a question to our Chinese guests. If China wishes to further develop and enhance her relationship with Europe, to what extent is China actually going to be willing to invest in getting Russia to end its aggression and withdraw from Ukraine? Question mark. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my brief remark. It is now my privilege, my honor, to present to you the Minister President of the Free State of Bavaria, President Söder. Before he speaks, let me remind those of you who do not speak German that you might wish to put on your earphones, because both Minister President Söder and the German Chancellor, who will be introduced right after that, will, as I understand, use the German language. So be prepared for that. Herr Ministerpräsident, Sie haben das Wort. Thank you.